Because of tonight's live coverage of the Winter Gala, programmes on BBC Two are now running about 5 minutes late. So now, with a budget response, the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Gordon Brown.
Good evening. Yesterday, the Conservative government put your taxes up, yet again, and they refused to abandon VAT on fuel. So from April, you'll pay the new tax. At the last election, John Major said, "We have no need and no plans to extend the scope of VAT." Yet from next April, VAT will be extended to our heating and our lighting bills, the basic necessities of life, costing you more each week. And now on top of that, the Conservatives have now taxed your pay packet even more. National insurance tax is up, but you will still receive less for it if you're sick or unemployed. You'll be paying more for less. John Major also said, "I've no plans to raise the level of national insurance contributions." But what has he done? £3 more a week in national insurance from April, paying more for less. And your income tax bills have now been raised in 3 different ways. The freezing of your personal allowances, reducing the married couple's allowance, and a big cut in your mortgage tax relief. Again, John Major said, "I've no doubt we will be able to make further reductions in the rate of taxation." But what has he done? Not taxes down, but £4 more a week on income tax. And the Conservatives have even introduced 2 new taxes. A tax on air travel. For most people, that's a holiday tax. And a tax on insurance for your car and your home when you're already paying a very high price in insurance because crime under this government has risen so much. And yesterday, they even admitted that your council tax will go up next year too, because government grants to local authorities will go down. And for many people, rents will go up too. But while you and I are required to carry these extra tax burdens, the Chancellor's refused to end the abuse of offshore tax havens that allow some very rich companies to avoid paying their fair share of tax. And he's done nothing to end the abuse of our tax system, whereby a millionaire can legally pay almost no tax at all. That's Tory unfairness. Now between them, the 2 budgets of 1993 will bring higher taxes this year, next year, and the year after. So the typical family will be required to pay an extra £10 in taxes every week from next year. And it's an extra £16 a week in taxes from the year after. It's the biggest tax demand ever made on the British people. The Conservatives keep telling us they're the low tax party, but now we're seeing the biggest tax rise ever announced in 1 year, an extra £24 billion. After this, no one can ever trust the Conservatives on tax again. And the tragedy is that we're paying more tax just to pay for the mistakes of the past. Nothing is being done to build for the future. For where are these tax rises going? You might expect you'd be getting something more for your money, something more for your higher taxes. At the very least, you'd be entitled to believe you would not be getting less. Now, John Major promised more spending on services, more investment in transport, more help with the environment, yet each has been cut, with serious consequences in every sector. For example, they're cutting 20% from the real budget for rail, so you can travel at 185 miles per hour from Paris to Calais, and in the tunnel, when it opens, you can travel by rail at 85 miles per hour, but you'll only be able to travel at 47 miles per hour from Dover to London. And they're even hitting the weakest and frailest in our society, taking away invalidity benefit by imposing new and much tougher tests, even for people with heart disease. They'll soon be halving the duration of unemployment benefit as well, from a year to only 6 months. Employers will now have to foot the bill for sick pay, making it more likely you'll be sacked for being ill. And what about the people hit by VAT? Most of us will receive absolutely nothing in compensation. And for those who receive help, compensation will be little more than half what they're paying out. 50p is not enough, and because pensioners need and deserve more than the 50p they'll receive for the first VAT rise in April, I'll be asking the House of Commons to abandon the VAT increase in its entirety. So it's not that the higher taxes you're paying are being spent on better services, or on improving your quality of life, or in building homes as we should, or in putting people back to work. In fact, all of these departmental budgets have been cut. They've broken their promises without apology and without shame. They've broken them to pay for the mistakes of the past, their mistakes, and not to build the economy for the future. Your taxes are going up because they failed to bring down unemployment and to arrest our national economic decline. We're paying more for less because our economy is weak, and our economy is weak because this government have failed. A successful government would not have had to do all this. All these charges and taxes for homeowners, car owners, students, tenants, people in work and out of work, people who are sick or disabled, all because they've so weakened the economy as a government that we've record borrowing, a trade deficit even in a recession, and huge levels of unemployment. It's all because the Conservatives have failed. And that's the most fundamental criticism of this government of broken promises. This budget should have signalled a new strategy for Britain, for high growth, high employment, high investment, a purposeful new approach, an economy fair to all its citizens, an economy to make Britain a world leader again. Now, Britain's more than its fair share of the best scientists, the most innovative technologists. We've given the world some of its greatest inventions. So why are we not doing better as we should? It's because over the years, especially these years of North Sea oil, we've failed to invest. Look at it this way. For every person in work, America invests 30% more than we do in Britain. In Germany, they invest 60% more. In Japan, investment is 90% higher, nearly twice the level in Britain. So look what's happened as a result to our industries since the Conservatives came to power. In 14 vital years, manufacturing in Britain has grown by only 5%. In Germany, it's risen by 25%. In America, by 36%. In Japan, it's risen by more than 50%, 10 times the increase in Britain. So it's low growth that's brought us high unemployment and our trade deficit, and now the borrowing deficit, the deficit they've had to raise taxes and reduce services to correct. And it's because of low growth that our economy has been overtaken by France and now Italy. And if we fail to arrest our national decline, we'll soon be level with countries like Singapore. Already, we've proportionately fewer students in higher education than Korea and Taiwan, and we must not fall further behind. So with this budget, we should have begun to break out of the vicious circle of unemployment, waste, and economic decline, with a new skills, employment, and industry policy to start up a new virtuous circle of skills, productivity, and growth, a new partnership between government and industry working together, a new deal between individuals and government working together to open doors, break down barriers, provide new opportunities for everyone. Because it's only in partnership together that we can begin to cut free from the habits of failure, the high unemployment, the lost skills of a wasted generation of young people, the decline of neighbourliness and mutual responsibility, and the anger, the frustration, and the desperation that in its extreme forms has unfortunately bred alienation and crime. Britain isn't working now, but Britain can work if we all work together. And I believe it's the responsibility of government to enable, encourage, and to lead the way, to restore the sense of common purpose that is the necessary first step to any realistic rebuilding. Yesterday's budget failed even to acknowledge such a necessity. One more failure to add to so many. 14 years of rising crime, 14 years of neglecting the National Health Service, 14 years in which we've failed to invest, 14 years now in which conservatism has failed our country. More conservatism will only bring more failure. What Britain now needs is a new start, and for that we will need a new government.
That was a budget response from the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Gordon Brown.